Alright guys, it's Ryan from RJ Martindale. In this video, I'll talk about BHE Services. This is the other plumbing company that we took over 12 months ago. I'll run through how the deal came about, how we bought it, the structure of the business, a load of the problems that we've faced, basically end to end what's happened over this last 12 months and if it was a big mistake. So I'll start by talking about how I came about BHE Services, and it wasn't anything clever in terms of me speaking to solicitors, accountants, looking for a business acquisition. The business almost came to me, and not in the way that you would expect. So I was having a conversation with Jeff, who looks after our phones and our data, the Wi-Fi at the office, and he called me to say that basically there may be some engineers available shortly. And what he was getting at is BHE were cancelling their contract with Jeff and basically closing the company. So there will be some engineers that are available. And at that point I said, forget about the engineers, what's happening with the phone number for starters, the website, because I knew it'd been going a long time. And he said he didn't know really, he thought they were just closing the company. So I managed to speak to Jeff, and Jeff through another person, I managed to speak to the owners to set up a conversation. One thing led to another. I had a conversation with the daughter, which would be Rachel, and Pam, who looked after all their accounts. And at that point, I didn't know, I just saw BHE as the big company that looked after all the social housing, nothing much on the private side. So I just went in open-minded. They basically explained that they'd lost the contract for Wigan and Leigh, so 50 vans straight down to 3 or 4 overnight, which I mentioned on the video 12 months ago. But the private side had a decent little round, and at that point I thought that's probably something that we'd be able to handle. Didn't think about the Lancaster area, it was just Bolton. And I knew that they had like a home care type of setup, but I didn't know how many, whether it was 50, 100, 500, 1,000. And it turned out that they had roughly 250-ish on home care. So basically, within the meeting, we decided there's 2 options to buy the company. We either buy the phone number and just do a redirect to RJ Martindale, or we buy the shares of the company, which is BHE as a brand, and everything else that comes with it, which also ties into the problems that we've got later, because you're also taking on the baggage of the company. And there's often is baggage when you've got a business that's been going as long as BHE has been going. But I thought, because of how long it's been going in Wigan, 50 odd years, longest going plumbing company in our area, certainly in our area, I thought let's have a crack at that. Didn't think about the Lancaster stuff until I went to have a meeting with Connor and Stuart. I went further up north into Morecambe, had a chat with them both. They had no idea that the business was closing. Big shock to them, as you can imagine. There's me, just a young lad from Bolton, coming over saying, I'm looking to take over this company. So you obviously get some friction there as well, because they have no idea who I am and they have no idea about the situation. So I'm basically turning up blind. Poor Connor thought I was turning up the BHE meeting was to talk about him having a new van, not that the business was closing. Anyway, I had a chat with them both. I told them what I were about. And over time, I think they've gained more trust with me, and we know what we're doing now with the business. But at the time, there was a lot of uncertainty, and especially for me as well, because I didn't really understand the area. I didn't know if the engineers were any good, and whether it was just going to cause me more hassle, where I could have just bought the phone number for the Bolton stuff and kept the home care going. Unbeknown at that time, that it's actually the Lancaster and Morecambe that is stronger. Positionally, it'd be stronger than Bolton, because the Bolton side was on a big decline. If we take the social housing out of it, it's almost like the business was split into 3. You had the Bolton social housing, you had the Bolton privates, and then you had the holiday homes, the student accommodation, and the work over in Lancaster. Now, the 2 engineers that they had in Bolton were rubbish, not interested, bad attitude. They were just going through the motions, and they basically ran the diet. They were just rubbish. So you're almost taking on BHE Bolton, which I found now, you're taking a deficit. I wasn't coming into it with a strong reputation. Since then, we've started making changes. But anyway, what I'm getting at is we've got Lancaster and Bolton. We decide to buy the shares of the company. Within the deal, then we discuss how we're going to pay for the business. They wanted over 100 grand for the for the business itself, and I basically agreed to the price that they put forward to me, but said I want to break that down as much as possible. So I'll pay them a deposit, which was around 40 grand, and then I'll defer the payments at 5 grand a month for as long as I can until it's paid off. So it doesn't tighten me too much on the cash flow. The 5 grand a month I can deal with, but I did know that I needed to make some changes fast to cover that cost, because even though you have deferred that payment, that 5 grand a month is still a lot of money, especially at times like now when you're going through a summer period. BHE had given me a price but not included the vans. They were going to put them on We Buy Any Car, something along that line, which they got next to nothing for. So I basically said, can you put them into the deal as well? I still want to defer them. So we put in Connor and Stewart's, which bought me a bit of time. And at this point, I'd got rid of the lads in Bolton. Like very soon after, they were no good. So I got rid of them straight away. So I had the two vans in Lancaster. And then for the Bolton side, we managed that work through RJ Martindale. So the problems that we needed to deal with early on. Problems. First, engineers. So the lads, Lancaster, Morecambe, we had Stuart and Connor, which I was happy with, and I had the confidence that that side was absolutely fine, and we were getting good reviews further up north. The Bolton side, that's where I had the problems. There was relatives at the business that worked there that were just not interested at all. I could tell. I had meetings with both of the engineers on their own, and I could just tell instantly that they weren't right. So in a short space of time, which is difficult to do as well, when they're like attached to the company, we needed to get rid of them straight away. So they came out of the business, so that left me with no engineers in Bolton, but fortunately we had our lads at RJ Martindale, and at the time BHE was quiet as well, so they didn't have much work 12 months ago. Now it's a quiet time now in, like I say, May, June, July. 12 months ago it was exactly the same, so I didn't have many issues there, but we needed to get rid of them too quick. The pricing, now this was all over the show. They had different prices for estate agents, private customers, whether it was in Bolton, in Lancaster, it was all over, and the prices were just ridiculous, down to call outs at like 45 quid plus VAT. So to give you an idea, way more than double that. And they could be going to a job that was in Windermere, so travelling an hour at this cost. That was a problem. Home care, let's say our essential home care is 20 quid a month. They were charging a daft figure like £11.63, or just a random number, but then put in a 45 quid excess in if they called out. But the problem is sometimes they waiver the excess. The cost was too low. Like, it was just ridiculous. So I mean, one of again, back to the problems, we needed to go back to all these customers and realign the prices, and also get rid of some of the work that we just didn't want. They were working for estate agents, which they thought they were great. They gave them loads of work. They were doing safety certificates to down at like 40 quid, just hideous, and just not making anything back. They were using them for all the little work, and they didn't really get the boiler installation, so it was all pointless. So we got rid of all that work and needed to realign all the prices. Poor systems. So they had a decent CRM system that was set up, which was Propeller, but it didn't integrate to their accounting software. It didn't integrate to the payment gateways that they were using, which was, I can't remember, but just you could pay by card. Nothing integrated together. So you have no view of your P&L, your balance sheet. You couldn't get an understanding of what's going on, which then meant they were owed loads of money, and they had no idea who paid them, who'd not paid them. So cash flow was an issue. So one thing I needed to sort very early on was get rid of a lot of the software. But again, the problem when you do that is you've got historical data on there which you need to keep. So I'm running 2 CRM systems in line with each other until we get them right. So what we did do early on is move them over to Commusoft, because our girls in the office understood Commusoft. We set up another account, but they could work between both systems quite easy. We put Propeller on the minimum cost, and as this 12 months has gone on, we've moved all the customers over to the new software, set up the service reminders, and got it a lot better. Commusoft then integrates to Xero, and Xero, I've now got my two businesses, which is BHE Services and RJ Martindale, so I can see day to day an accurate profit and loss and where the business is up to, if I've got issues with cash flow and what we need to do to fix it. Reputation. This is a big one for me. Obviously, I bang on about it a lot in our videos. Your Google profile is the backbone of all your marketing efforts. If you've got a poor reputation online nowadays, you've no chance. Doesn't matter what marketing you do, you'll not convert them customers. And I was starting at a deficit. We had 4.2 out of 5. So we had a number of 1-star reviews, which to be fair were historic from back when they did the work for the social housing. So what we needed to do was get as many reviews as we can to try and bring that review up. So we went from 4.2 and we've got it up to 4.6. And that's going from 40 reviews up to 110. So you can see the amount of reviews that you need to get to start moving the needle of your rating. But we've been working hard on that in the Bolton area, and that is getting better. And then I've put systems in place to make sure our engineers are prepared and they're doing the right job, so then our customers can easily leave us a review. And the last of our problems is debts. From the video a couple of weeks back, I talk about EE chasing us for a lot of money. So when BHE, when we took over, made it very clear that they must terminate any outstanding debts or contracts that they had in place. So we are onto a fresh start. For some reason, they've cancelled the direct debit, but not actually the contract themselves. Now, there's a bit of back and forth going on because I think BHE were under the impression that they had done. But consequently, EE are chasing us now for around 13, just shy of 14 grand. And it's something that you need to deal with, which is just, even if it's not your problem, it is your problem because it's the pressure. You just got to deal with this. You don't want stuff like that on your shoulder. It's hard enough as it is. So that is another problem that we need to sort out. So yeah, that would be a run through of the problems that we had early on, which I knew we'd be facing problems anyway. I didn't come into it thinking it was going to be straightforward. I knew there was going to be baggage. I knew there were going to be issues, but I was confident with what I'd done with RGM. I can implement this into BHE and certainly get it fixed pretty quick, or certainly get us back to baseline so we can then grow. Right, let's jump in the van, head over to the office. In the van, I'll talk about the benefits that we've had since taking over from BHE. And then when we get to the office, I'll show you the van. I'm hoping Warren's there. We'll have a quick chat with Warren and I'll show you the structure that we've set up inside the office. I do just want to add as well, I'm listing all them problems and they feel like a big issue at the time. But each one of them that you fix, you're getting better and better. Failures, problems, I see them the same. You're learning as you go. Next time, you'll have killed that situation before it becomes a problem. You know, and every conversation that you have with your solicitor, your accountant, it just takes you from here to here as a businessman. And again, I always say it, once you hit a problem, don't sweat it, because within half an hour, you've got another. So just crack on. And it's not all problems. I want to talk about some of the benefits now that we've had from taking over BHE, and one of them that I did overlook from the start is using the business, the BHE, as a recruitment tool. When we started and we took over BHE, we took on Catherine in the office. So Rachel didn't come over. Now Rachel was the daughter of the owner, and I think she was ready for a fresh start anyway. But one thing I didn't want is, without sounding the wrong way, I didn't want baggage coming over into the new business, because what I felt was, if somebody from the family came into the business, they would potentially be hiding issues that were there and protecting it and not making the right decisions for the business at that time. So I decided to bring Catherine over, that had worked there for 3 years answering the phone, understood the customers, understood the system, and were brilliant. So she hit the ground running. And she's just a brilliant asset to the team, as well as on the RJ Martindale side as well. And also we've got Connor and Stuart. But that also led on to us doing the YouTube channel, talking about RGM, BHE, and updating the team on what's happening. And from there, we took on Matthew, Warren, and also Louise in the office. But at least our ads are running there, so we're top of Google now, which is good. I'm trying to do a video on BHE. We're not getting there, are we, Dan? Right, let's go. So I spoke about the problems that we had with BHE. We also want to talk about the benefits Warren, what problems would you say we have with BHE since the takeover?
Since the takeover?
Actually, what benefits have I had since taking on BHE?
Well, you've had the benefit of me coming working for you.
There we go. Team. That leads on to actually, perfect that, Warren. So one thing that I didn't realise at the time, let's shut that door. So yeah, from the recruitment side, in terms of building the business out, this is how it looks now. So we've got engineers that can work across both businesses, which is great. The office has then been built up of Joanne, Lou, Kat, which are both answering the phones across both businesses. We've got Sue, that is just dedicated to accounts now. So previously she was dragged into the call answering side as well. So because the business has got bigger, Sue is just on accounts, 3 people dedicated to answering the phone, and we've got Warren and Dan in the hybrid position of both working on the tools and on the business. Warren more on the operational side and Dan on the sales side of the business. So in taking on BHE, the size of the business in terms of the recruitment size has grown. From a financial point of view, now BHE on the private side was not to the size of RJ Martindale. It was doing about 20 to 25,000 a month in sales, so 20,000 a month, and of that 20,000 it was doing around 5 grand in recurring revenue through the home guard plan. So that's what I was interested in here, because I knew that the prices were low, and in my mind I thought we can get them prices up to the same as RJ Martindale without losing too many, and that's what we did. This is now at just over 8,000 a month, with around 300 customers on home guard plans, home care plans. BHE called it home guard, and then we've converted it over to home care, and pretty much everyone has moved over. We've actually increased, so I think there was around 250, that's now around 300, and we've also got student accommodation that are on plans as well. And the other point I want to add is, on top of the sales, because BHE didn't have much of an installation side over in Bolton or in Lancaster, they were out and out breakdown engineers, we still had leads coming in for boilers, and it's brought in 102,000 in sales, in turnover, to RJ Martindale. So once them leads were coming in, we put our sales process in place. At first it was myself, and then it's led on to Dan, as well as Stuart and Connor pricing holiday homes over in Lancaster. We've converted them into boilers and then sent our engineers from RJ Martindale to install them. And off the back of them, we will have also converted them to home care, which is the recurring revenue. So the combination of BHE and RJ Martindale. So we've got RGM doing roughly 140,000 a month, BHE doing 20,000 a month, but between the two combined, we've got around 30k a month now coming in with recurring revenue through home care. Do you want to be on camera? Yeah. Come on, Lou. Lou's one of the key parts of the team that's come over from BHE. Yeah. Lou, how long were you at BHE? Beforehand? 4 years. How long was Kat? 3? Yeah? 3. Did you want me though? Yeah. Go on, what's up?
I need the A number for that screw fix order.
Right.
That you picked up at Lancaster.
Yeah. Let's continue. So we've got Catherine as well. Unfortunately, Catherine isn't here today. She's on holiday. So we've just got the lovely Joanne. Are we on the phone? Oh yeah, well, Joanne's on the phone. It's funny, isn't she?
Hello.
No, so what I was talking about, we'll see what Joanne's perspective is on it. You might need to zoom out, but I've talked about the problems that we've had taking on BHE, all the problems that we've faced. I've dealt with that, but what would you say are the positives, if you will, or the benefits from taking on BHE? Can you think of any?
Catherine Flannery.
Okay, so that's team again.
That we've taken over from BHE, the office lady. She's absolutely fantastic. She's come into the business and just basically got on with a job. She's asked for no help, although she was on a Propeller, which was their software package. So she's just come in and got on with that. But she's recently started putting jobs on our software package, which is Commusoft. So she's now kind of dealing with 3 systems. So she's still got Propeller, which we are going to shut off, aren't we, eventually, Ryan?
Yeah.
And she's got BHE Commusoft, where we book Connor and Stewart in for the Lake District jobs, Morecambe and Lancaster. And then she's also got open our Commusoft, and she sometimes books jobs in on our Commusoft. So she's not really asked me any questions. She's just got on with it and learnt it herself, and she's just very proactive. She's just an asset to the business. Well, I think we've had a couple of engineers, haven't we, from BHE. So Matt, our engineer Matt.
So these are where you forget about, that's what I'm saying, and I've mentioned it in the video. You also forget about the recruitment side that's come from it. So Connor, Stuart.
Sorry, yeah, the two.
Engineers.
Yeah, we've took on the 2 engineers.
Louise, she came from BHE.
Yeah.
You just don't think about it at the time, but Louise has indirectly come from BHE as well.
So we've got 5
Yeah.
because we've got the lads who,
And we've got Warren.
and we've got Warren.
Yeah.
So we've got Connor and Stewart. We've got who are up in the Lake District. We've got Catherine, who's come from BHE. Catherine's brought over a friend, Louise, who is another asset to the business. She's excellent, my wing woman. And then Ryan's also taken on Warren, who's from BHE. And we've got Matt, who's our engineer. So that's 5 people. So that's a benefit to the business because we've got a team, really, haven't we? Set up a team. You know, we've hit the ground running, haven't we? We've not had to do any. It's not like you've lost the staff, is it? And you've had to do a big recruitment drive.
Well, what I'm saying is we've got rid of the
Well, we've got
engineers
rid of the ones that we didn't want.
Yeah, they wouldn't have been a right fit for the business.
No.
So we got shut of them very quick. And that's the point as well. Like, these engineers were supposed to be all singing, all dancing. They could do anything, breakdowns, they can do the lot. But that doesn't interest me at all if their attitude isn't right. They can be the best breakdown engineer in the Northwest, but if they've got a bad attitude, all that does is infiltrate the team. So we just remove them from the business as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Don't we?
Yeah, like mould.
They've got to fit in with the team culture, who they are. Otherwise, they've got to go. And then that seems like an issue at the time because you might be mad busy as well. You might be really busy and you need that person, but just get rid of them. Previously, like years and years ago, I've held on to lads for too long because you're panicking about getting through the work, but before you know it, you end up with new engineers anyway. That's what's happened, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. But what that has meant is building the team bigger. So from a financial point of view, when I was looking at the figures there, you would then ask the question, was it worth it financially? So is the business profitable? So the answer, the short answer to that question is no at the minute. If anything, it's lost money and it's slowed RJ Martindale down because RJ Martindale was on like this trajectory, and then we've brought in BHE, which I spoke about earlier, that was, if anything, was at a deficit. So then you're using your resources of RJ Martindale to grow another business. So short term, the answer would be no, but long term, it will be much more profitable because the team is so much bigger now. So we've kind of got over the hill of investing in new vans, bigger team, more marketing to get us back to baseline. And now we're in the position to roll more vans out and then start growing. So if I was looking to optimise BHE for profit, I could have absolutely done that. We could have bought the phone number, done a redirect to RJ Martindale, utilised the service plans, bolted that onto the side of ours. I could have had 1 engineer in Lancaster because at the minute they're not at capacity. This is if I took the emotion out of it. I could have had 1 engineer in Lancaster and not build out this middle management team in Bolton. And then the recurring revenue that was coming in would have gone straight to our bottom line because I'd have utilised our engineers in Bolton and had the 1 engineer in Lancaster. Short term, that would have been great, but I'm looking long term, 3 to 5 years down the line, where we've got a solid team in Lancaster, a solid team in Wigan, and a strong team in Bolton. So what's starting to happen now is both of the businesses are climbing together, which ultimately that was the plan. And to add to that, over this last 12 months, I've completely replaced myself in the business now with the additional team, pulling Daniel off the tools, having Warren off the tools, having the office team that we've got, having Sue just dedicated to accounts, which I used to get pulled into as well, or Sue would get pulled into answering the phone. I've completely replaced myself now, which 12 months ago I was all over the show, wasn't I? Very much still on the tools and just doing bits of everything. So certainly a big plus there. So if I run through the marketing, what we've needed to do to get BHE where it needs to be, and I missed it off the benefits of taking over BHE. One big benefit was bringing on Ally Marketing. I personally have had a number of different marketing agencies, PPC specialists, website design, SEO. We've had 5 or 6 different companies that I've never had great. It's the problem of having 2 cockapoos in the office. So from a marketing point of view, we've brought over Ally Marketing, which are based over in Lee. So I love the idea of having a marketing agency where you can go in and sit down with them. All the other companies that I've used have all been like over Zoom calls and Teams, and you've not got that one-to-one interaction where sometimes I just want to go. I think it's like that ADHD side of me where I've just got to go and then let them know exactly what I want to do. I struggle with like sitting still on a Zoom call and I just lose interest. It's just who I am. So that has been a big benefit, and that leads on to the marketing side of BHE. So what we did was put some more money behind Ally Marketing because I think they'd been suppressed quite a lot in cost from BHE. They might have had a retainer of 300 to 500 quid to just top up bits of socials and all the rest of it, but it's just not enough. So we increased budget with Ally Marketing. They are working across both businesses now. That's to around 3,500 a month. So we're doing the organic stuff with BHE. We redesigned the front end of the website, so tidied all that up, which tied into the price increases. We also bought a 3rd van. So we got the 3rd van and rebranded that with the B and the purple, which I'll show you in a second. We'll have a walk down because Warren's van's here. We built the Google My Business profiles. So initially we had an RJ Martindale profile and we had a BHE Bolton profile with the week reviews. And I've since realised that there's been a disconnect between Lancaster, Morecambe and the Lake District and Bolton. There's 20-mile difference in time, and people buy from local people. I said that on the last video, so we're really looking at localising our marketing. We set up another Google My Business profile. We're pushing hard for reviews at the minute to get as many 5-star reviews as we can, and then we're putting some money behind PPC for the Google area, for the local area on Google. From a branding point of view, we've modernised all of the BHE stuff. We've put engineers in new uniform. We've got new boiler stickers, new business cards, new literature, new handovers for the customer, physical handovers. I've created a boiler sales guide for Dan. So whether it's me or him going into a job, the survey guides the engineer straight through end to end. It's brilliant with all the pricing, all the information on our home car, and that's working really well across both businesses. And the last thing that we have done is use the same ad sets in RJ Martindale for our traditional marketing, in leaflets and magazines, and we've put that into the BHE side. So from a marketing point of view, we're hitting it from all different angles. Overall, just trying to get BHE known again in the area, both in Wigan and over in Lancaster, and we'll continue to do that hard over the next 12 months. A lot of the foundation, a lot of the groundwork has been done now, so we can really start pushing advertising and bringing in some more leads to the business.
It's a mile off. Is it because you don't see it in Wigan anymore?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's important, but it's better off than being in Darwin.
Exactly that. So I'm thinking if I'm driving about, they'll see that in Wigan anyway, and hopefully, because that's where BHE were known. They were known more over Wigan than they were over Bolton.
Yeah, well, that's why I want to put that separate profile. We're just talking about that. So I want to split it between Bolton as just RJM, because there's no point competing against the same work, especially if you're putting ads behind stuff. I mean, you can often see now from an SEO point of view, RJ Martindale and BHE are often like towards the top organically on the first page of Google, which is good. But I want to have a base in Wigan, and you're going to front that with your B.
That's fine. I'm used to kids waving at me now.
Come on, let's go down. So yeah, we do have a Google profile that is at Rosebridge, which would be ideal in Wigan. But where was that? What was that location, Warren?
Rosebridge Court at Wigan, it was.
But who's now in that?
Liberty Group's in there.
is who took the contract away from BHE, but we would need to go in there and do like a video to show that, I don't know what, we need to basically verify it with Google so we can move the address. But Warren's frightened of going back in.
Yeah. They might ambush me.
What was the reason for that locate? What were you saying there?
We had to have, as per to Wigan contract, we had to have a location on the area, just so that if we had any meetings with Wigan,
Yeah.
they could come to us rather than driving over to Bolton. And also HTS, who was our old stores,
Yeah.
per supplier, was only a few units down, so we could work side by side with them.
See, I wonder whether we could get that location through HCS. Because it's not, the building's similar in it.
Very similar.
Yeah, similar. So I think we might be able to do it that way. And at least if we can get that profile, we can relocate it. Because there are a few reviews on that. This is the van that we bought earlier last year. And we bought two vans. We bought one for BHE and one for RJ Martindale. The original BHE vans were like white with, it wasn't out there enough for me. So I wanted to go really out there with the purple, utilise the B, because a lot of people around the Wigan area know about the B. So we've used the avatar, made it big, strong call to action on there. And again, I mention it all the time, we've colour coded the tubes and the rack. And overall it looks good. We've recently just got Warren into this van. So Warren's been with us now 3 to 4 months. And he, again, he's working in the office, but also on the tools, doing the emergencies for BHE. So he uses this van around the Wigan area. Let's go and see him. Love them vans, they're growing on me, they look mega. We've got David here, first appearance on the camera. Isn't it, Dave?
First appearance.
Yeah, say hello, Dave.
Hello.
What are we on with? See, these are some of the things that were neglected beforehand, like vehicle van checks like this. Warren's running over Dave's van now to make sure everything's sound. If there's any issues, it's getting dealt with. It just so happens that windscreen's got a crack in it. So stuff like that had been missed before, we're just jumping on it straight away. I'm back at my house because it's a bit busy in the office and I get distracted. I've got my whiteboard, I've had a haircut because I was told I look homeless. And I thought I'd answer the question that I've had a number of times, which is, was it worth it getting involved with BHE Services? And it's a question that I have in my own mind, like, was it just a big mistake? And I say that because the time, the cost and the effort that I put into BHE, if we'd have done that into RJ Martindale, the existing business, where would that be? Because RJ Martindale beforehand was starting to fly. We brought through that like plateau of putting a marketing budget in place, getting our own vans, getting a solid team, and it was flying. And so profits were increasing and our overheads were staying the same. But then obviously the opportunity came about with BHE and we jumped into it. And there's like a lot of effort has gone into it to just get us up to like baseline. We've come from a deficit, if anything. It's like a business that really was going downhill on the private side. But when I actually zoom out and I look at it, this is what's happened over the last literally 11, 12 months. That I took this picture 12 months ago, well, August 23, and in the picture I've got 5 of our own vans with RJ Martindale. So we had 6, but one of them wasn't ours. It was a subcontractor that we used that had his own van. So since then, taking over BHE, we've grown our mini fleet from 5 to 11 vans. So when I first started with the deal with BHE, only 2 vans came over. But what's happened with bringing BHE on, the additional works that have come in have grown both RJM and BHE together over the last 12 months. The team, we had 10 people last year, 10 members of the team, which were a strong team as well. Don't get me wrong, I've had some bad ones over the years, but I just got to a point where we had like a solid team. But in taking over BHE, there were only 3 people that came over initially, which was Catherine, Connor and Stuart, but that introduced us to more engineers and our team grew from 10 to 17. So big increase there. So really, like when I look at it, I feel like we're not, at times I get in my head, I just think, well, I'm not where we should be, but we've literally doubled the company in the last 12 months. And that's from a business that's doing nothing like the revenue of RJ Martindale, but bolting that on. And the team that it's built has been brilliant. So buzzing with that. And this is some of the other things as well. So some of the other plus. So more coverage. So we've expanded our coverage from Bolton, Chorley, Wigan to now Lancaster, Morecambe and the Lake District. And it's not too far away that our engineers can't work between the areas. And I'll certainly be looking at bridging the gap through, like I said, Chorley, Preston, Garstang into Lancaster. It's a great way of bridging that gap when the time comes. More recurring revenue, so the home guard. So BHE had their own system, which was the home guard. We've converted them customers, increased the prices, moved them over to RJM. So our recurring revenue, which is a big thing for us, I feel it's the backbone of the business. It's what takes the stress away at night, knowing that you're not starting from scratch month on month. I've done a video on that, just literally on that topic. So big plus there with the recurring revenue. I've removed myself from the business. So from a profitability point of view, it is frustrating because you're squashing your net profit. Now, I've got a funny thing with that because our gross profit has been growing all the time, which is brilliant. But what we've been doing in building the team out is putting more overhead in place. This is just some short-term pain. But what I have done is literally remove myself from the business. I'm not on the tools doing jobs. I'm not on the tools doing jobs, and I'm not out surveying jobs anymore, which was a big thing. Like they talk about, and I often see it getting off the tools. You want to get off the tools, but off the tools is one thing, out of operations is another. You know what I mean? That's a bigger job itself, and pulling yourself away. So then you've got a bird's eye view on the business. You can see what you need to do. You've got clarity as to what you need to do to grow and push on. And that over the last 12 months, even though there's been like a bit of pain, if you will, it has really freed me up. But yeah, removing myself from middle management, this has kind of happened at the same time. We've got Warren, Dan, Louise, Catherine, Joanne and Sue that are all working within the office. Obviously, we've got the hybrid roles, which I've spoke about, but these individuals can work across both businesses really well. Okay, so we're saving costs. So even though there's a bit of short-term overhead cost, the team that we've got here, and I mentioned it before, will take us from 11 vans to 20. I'm confident in that. And the actual overhead cost will not change that much. So overall, it wasn't a big mistake. Short term, what you like, when I really look at the business, even though it's been going 50 years, I feel this what we're doing now on the private side is like starting from scratch. We're at year one. And this leads on to what we're going to do moving forward. So the business will be split up into three. We've got RJ Martindale, which will be covering Bolton, Chorley, and touching Wigan. We'll have BHE, that predominantly where all the council contract work was, it was in Wigan. So there'll be a specific profile for Wigan. And we're going to have BHE Lancaster, which over this last 2 weeks, I've really been pushing hard. So we've set up a location. BHE had a location in Lancaster that was sat dormant. We've taken that location, which is a Google profile. We're now starting to build the reviews up, and we'll start pushing marketing in these individual areas. The mistake that I made at the very start is just doing the BHE Bolton. So BHE Bolton is direct competition with RGM Bolton. From a search point of view, it's poor because you're never going to rank over this side. Your Google My Business profile is powerful, as well as just you've got to localize the area, localize the vans, the team, everything, almost build it out like a franchise. That is the way, the mindset that I've got going over to that into the next 12 months. Your engineers can still work across the three. Your middle management, your team can still work across the three, but you must market to your local area. And that's what we're doing, and we'll be doing heavily over the next 12 months. Pay off BHE, the deferred payments. I've got about 75 grand left that I need to pay. I'm in a fortunate position where I don't need to pull any money out of BHE completely. But as soon as we've got that into profit, which is where we're at now, I'll be paying profits of the business, I'll be paying off this as soon as possible. I want this boxing off. I could stretch it out then 5 grand a month, but I don't. I want to overpay and get it paid off. Hire purchase on my vans. So at the minute, I've got 9 vans that are on hire purchase at 500 quid a month. It's a big cost, especially when you put it on top of the 5 grand deferred payments. That's 9.5k that's getting wiped out from a cash flow point of view every month. Fortunately, my vans start getting paid off next year, and then they're in 3-month intervals. So we've got it's crazy, and I can't believe it's gone so fast, but a van that we had 4 years, that's coming up. I've got the balloon payments, and then we'll start chipping away and paying them off. But I do want to scale as well. So I say I do want to scale. If we're in a position where I need to put more vans on the road, I will put them vans on the road. I'll not hold back, but it would be nice to get these squashed, paid off. It'll just take that pressure away. And more opportunities for my team. That's a big thing for me. I do feel that your business needs to be growing. If it's not growing and it's stagnant, it can become stagnant coming into work. I want to make sure there's opportunities there for my team, and basically the business is able to give them opportunities for my team as it grows. Otherwise, it can just become like everything can just plateau. So that'll be a big thing for me. And I do understand that the market is down. It is tough out there. I don't know what the next 12 months are going to be like. The next couple of years, we've got new government coming in. There is going to be some pain, but you can't bury your head in the sand. You've just got to crack on and keep pushing. Like Mr. Sinclair says, there might be a recession going on, the market may be down. That is here. You want to be here. Create your own economy. That's definitely what I've got in my mind all the time. You want to be self-sustainable and keep pushing on and adapt where you need to. We had pain points through summer. It was an issue. It was a big issue. So we started pushing in the air conditioning. We brought in the recurring revenue. Anything that you can do to keep pushing on and growing. And that'll be the difference between the businesses that'll do well and the business that'll plateau and unfortunately start to fail, because it is competitive out there. But to summarise, I would definitely say it has not been a mistake. I've enjoyed it with the BHE. One thing as well that you can't, like I mentioned earlier, all the problems and the issues that you have, each one of them you fix, you go to another level. I've learnt so much. Conversations with professional, clever people, much cleverer than me. They take you to another level. So I'm buzzing. I can't wait for the next 12 months. And I want to see as well the effort that we put in, all the marketing efforts over the last 8 months, which has been a time where it's been down. We'll see what happens as that carries through into the winter season. I think it'll fly. And I think everybody will be, I mentioned it in the last video, they'll be screaming that they've got too much work come September, October, November. So yeah, stay busy, crack on. If you've found any value in this video, like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.